educate them in public, expose it, shoot video, tell our cities not to do this. What do we do in your view, Steve?
Well, we're doing all that, Alex, so we're doing all we can do. 4 years ago, and I want to make this clear, I put up on my website and read it multiple times on the air. I believe it was a true word from the Lord that God said, I am against you, Pentagon, and your plans to make war against my people. We're seeing right now a two-star general. They're asking him to be court-martialed because he gave Jesus a glory at a commencement speech or something. I think the people have got to understand it's a spiritual battle. You touch on it, and I touch on it, but there are a lot of people who cannot equate their faith, in essence, who go to church on Sunday and can't understand that they've now been vilified. So, Alex, the truth is the only thing I know that can confront this. I would say this, that the provocations will become more and more pronounced, okay? And so, again, the idea is that information...
So they're trying to push us into conflict.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said it earlier, and I want to make it clear, too, that these individuals want a civil war. They're going to push it. If you notice something interesting about the last riot, the Crips and the Bloods came together along with the Nation of Islam, and they were peaceful. But again, when I say relatively peaceful, but when you don't know who's on the police force, this is where I think it should be know your cop. I have some amazing people just like you do that are in law enforcement that send you absolute state-of-the-art information. But I've warned them all, and this is what I'll warn everybody who's in law enforcement that listens to your show today. This is critical, Alex, life and death. Beware of observers assigned to your vehicle. Beware of observers assigned to your department. Beware of just recent guys that you know for a fact haven't been out of the military so long that are coming in, and notice their demeanor. Street smarts are what saves a cop's lives. Street smarts now can be identified, if you will, to the information.
Absolutely, because when they drop the hammer, they've got everybody actuaried and profiled. They're going to have a night of the long knives where they go after a lot of the people in the government. Absolutely.
And here's the deal. If you're not a politically correct cop, then you've already been targeted for elimination. When the man who, it cost him his life, let me one more time run this down, Alex, real quick.
Do it when we come back. You're going to have the floor when we come back. Because I know the story, it's powerful, and it's just crazy.
Here's the deal. We've got to educate them. That's what we're doing. But we also need the people out there that have listened to you, listen to me, for all...
They're going to have to get aggressive. Exactly. It's time for everybody to be a leader, everybody to be heard and seen. They can't get us all. The maximum pushes right now. The globalists are not invincible. We're going to come back, though, and talk about your friend and more, and take phone calls and hit a bunch of other news. The economy, the election, it's all coming up. I like to go see movies with my friends. I like to go play pool and drink beer. I like to have a good time. I'm not looking for trouble. I don't have some death wish or power wish. I have looked at the documentation for 25 years, 23, 24 years, been on air 20. And I saw it for totalitarianism that it was. The globalists bragging about a corporate world government. But if we were just going under a corporate world government and it would just be new owners, and they wanted to keep taxes low because that actually creates more revenue and they wanted to skim off the top, I would be a talk show host against it, and I'd try to reform it, but I wouldn't be every day getting myself right with Jesus, every day just not even able to believe what's happening, because I can't go shoot clay pigeons or go play golf or go fishing because I'm physically sick the whole time, because I know that the globalists are doing what they're doing. And I just can't avoid reality like Steve Quayle was talking about. That's our problem. And I get people that just want to go to a baseball game or a football game or want to go bowling. I mean, if we weren't in such dire straits, I'd be picking my kids up 2 or 3 nights a week. We wouldn't be going home and doing homework. We'd be going to the bowling alley like we did when I was a kid. We'd be going camping. We'd be playing tennis. But instead, I don't know when the big hammer's coming down, but the economy's degenerating. The government's running around like all hands on deck, gearing up. All the manuals we get, nothing about radical Islam, everything about veterans and gun owners. And none of that is going to fly, and Christians, unless they're planning atrocities to be blamed on us. And man, when Al Jazeera was here with American reporters, or when BBC is here, or when ABC is here, they look at me like they hate me and like I had done something to their kids. I mean, they have really conditioned the public on the enemy side to hate us. And all we want is them to have freedom and prosperity and a future and Americana. Prosperity. I mean, we're good people. We're just mainline Americans. I instinctively and spiritually cannot bow down and be a slave. I instinctively cannot just give in to all this, and we've had a huge effect. But I'll tell you, it's frustrating, and I'm glad to have done what I've done. We're going back to Steve Quayle in a moment. I am proud of the fact I've been honorable. I can't help it. It's in my bones. I also don't feel worthy at many levels because I'm not perfect, and a incredible task of this magnitude. I mean, do you understand this radio show is the #1 worldwide media event in the face of the globalists? Steve Quayle has millions of viewers and listeners as well. I know he's probably glad. I may have a little bit more because it's so dangerous. This isn't fun. I mean, I want people to understand. This isn't fun, okay? I don't go out in public and get awards. I don't want to be famous. I didn't want them to take our guns in Texas like they were trying in 1994. And I learned about the UN model system and all the rest of it. I thought other people would care and want to do something. And you know what? You have cared. You have done something. And they know you're getting active. So I'm telling you, we're approaching a key event. And when I talk about myself here, it's so you as a new listener or viewer can understand this isn't a game. And it's the sincerity we have and the truth we have and the documentation we have. I mean, Steve Quayle is so upset when he's speaking that you can hear him just almost unable to talk, and I know that feeling. So I've just got to go 100 miles an hour to get past the emotion so I can just get it out, because there's nothing more frustrating than spending years reading this stuff and reading the books, hundreds of them, written by them, how they put fluoride in the water to dumb us down, how they put chemicals in the vaccines to brain damage our kids, to know they're coming with forced inoculations. It's here. They're coming with everything. They're coming. They're already here. And to see most of the servants of these people aren't even bad. They're compartmentalized. They want to go bowling. They want to go play golf. They want to go shooting. They want to go out with their girlfriend or fiance. They want to go see a baseball game. And so do I, man. And so they look at me and they say, you must be lying, because if that was true, I'd have to do something. Well, it is true. And what's happening is we're rapidly approaching the point of no return, where everybody has to admit that evil took over, and it's about to get a lot worse. So people are finally waking up, and that's why the globalists are coming in with internet kill switches and censorship, and the founding fathers wouldn't be welcome in the military, blah, 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 because they're about to make things so bad, they've got to normalize stuff and hide it in plain view. The toll-free number to ask questions of Steve Quayle is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. First-time callers, please. 800-259-9231. I will skip this network break to give Steve more time, and we'll go to calls. We have a brief pro-life announcement at the bottom of the hour. Jakari is in Cleveland covering what's coming up tonight, but he's going to lead a pro-life event Thursday at the main Planned Parenthood Mother Death Camp ship, the SS Ku Klux Klan Command Center, literally, the proto-Hitler facility up the road on Ben White at noon. And we're going to hold up Black Lives Matter with the history of the genocide against black people, but everybody for that matter. And so we're going to be announcing that at the bottom of the hour. We're skipping this network break, but we're just doing the best we can in the face of this evil and the 17 million murdered black people. And even though they brainwash a lot of the black people and turn them against everybody and doesn't matter, we're still going to try to stop them from the real killers, the Democratic Party and their KKK command base. Literally. Just look it up. Biggest supporters of the Planned Parenthood is the KKK, and they've got the moron liberals all out there supporting them. God, they're so stupid. That's another thing. I'm so sick of arguing with idiots. I just, Steve Quayle, you got the floor. I'm skipping the break. You were getting into your friend that was killed for exposing the red, blue, and green list. Now they admit all these lists under InfraGard, clergy response teams, their HUMET teams, their rollout. I mean, and all these snot noses that have now got security clearances and think they're cool and part of a winning team against us. I mean, they have no idea they're going to be betrayed in the next phase of this once the Civil War kicks off. Steve Quayle, break down exactly what the globalists would like to pull off and why they're always trying to maneuver us towards this point.
The wisest man in the world, at least detailed in history, was Solomon. He said, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? The thing is, Alex, is that people have allowed their country to be taken away from them. Now, saying all that, the next step they're going to do is and remember this, you can always look at two words, they both start with C, control and chaos, okay? Out of the chaos comes their control. And let me share this. This has got to strike a chord. We're talking about these guys want, and again, this has not sunk in, they want 90% of the world's population dead and done away with, whether by vaccines, whether by weather warfare control, whether by this, whether by that. Now I'm using a different form of weather, but the point being is that that's the end game, okay? The total destruction of mankind, creating the image and likeness of God, and then an insert will come in, an entity made in the power of darkness's likeness. And listen, I think it should have been plain to everyone. When the entity made the statement, America is no longer a Christian nation, probably that's another time he told the truth. Second time is when he said, America is the greatest country in the world, we intend to change all that. So when the press will let the highest officer in the land get away with lie after lie after lie after lie, I believe, Alex, that we're being set up for and this is not a pet plan of mine. It's what I've been told by all the people that I've ever contacted with or have contacted me more likely, that Russia and China have their plans set for this country. We've talked about Chinese below the border, people didn't believe that. Talked about Russians in Canada, people didn't believe that. Our own government brought the Russians in to help take away the guns. One of the guys whose brother was married to a high-ranking Russian official saw the letter. It was signed by former, I think it was Janet Napolitano. We've seen the murder of innocents. We see it every day. And this is why I salute what you're doing. Again, my goal is to get the blacks, and I'm saying that, the Latinos, the whites, everybody to understand who's behind initiating, trying to get us, meaning us, collectively, all Americans, to fight factually and create civil war. The fact that the United Nations is in this country, and I want to share this, Alex, maybe your sources can validate this too, but I've been told that a secret treaty and agreement exists pretty much to give back Aztlan to Mexico. That's why the Desert Southwest was chosen as Jade Helm. Now, have you heard that from any of your sources?
It's incredible you said that. I was told that by some military folks 2 weeks ago. They said, Alex, you notice that's the Aztlan map? Everything we do is multifaceted. Of course, it's to condition the public. Of course, it's so the public can take pot shots at us and you can be blamed. But more importantly, down the road, they are looking at a civil war and actually breaking part of the country off during that and using that as the excuse to introduce the UN peacekeepers.
Absolutely. Now, look who's on the Security Council, Alex. You've got Russia and China as two of the most powerful members on the Security Council. You've got basically John Kerry running with his tail between his legs to Moscow and begging for a meeting with Putin. You've got the whole strange arrest of Masonic police. You've got the story of one of them going to the Soviet embassy, and this isn't just on wacky stuff from Europe. This is the real event. Right now, as you and I are on the air, I'm seeing RADCON levels in Hartford, Connecticut. This is important to what we're talking about. Maryland, U.S. Look, they've already decided that they're going to sacrifice Washington.